You look into it and I will start. No issues.
Ashok, mine is everything has been deleted clearly.
That's fine then. That's good. Yeah, Punit, I am able to see your screen. Go on.
Mistake was first we like number of tasks given, we didn't make 0, Ashok. Directly we have deleted the cluster.
We have to give it to 0, then you can delete it, because see, if you are deleting the tasks, automatically the services will not be able to, the services will automatically create every time, right? And if you try to delete the service will say that you have mentioned the task to be, the service to be as 1 or 2. So automatically it says that there is some task which is running. So it will not go because it's dependent on the task. So for that, first we have to make the services 0. Then it says that, okay, there are no services to be created in this task. So if once you delete the service, automatically the task will also get deleted. Okay, go to the clusters. Okay, there is no clusters. Go to task definitions. Okay, that's fine. Go to the new namespaces. And there is 2. Yeah, just click on the local. On the name. Name. Beside the name there is one. Click on that. Now it takes you to the cloud map, AWS cloud map. Now you will be able to see here, and then you can delete it from here itself. Go to namespace. Namespace.
Back.
Now click on select and delete.
One at a time or both can be selected?
Both you can delete at a time. Yeah, okay, delete first one. Okay, go to local. Go inside of the local. You have to delete the VPC first. Go to the hosted zone ID. The down.
Below. Oh yes, there.
Or delete both.
Where is the delete option, Ashok?
Go to your VPC first. How many VPCs you have?
Two VPCs, Ashok. One
Delete
was deployed and one was I created.
Okay, delete the one which you have created.
Puneet, go for the cloud formation stack. There we will be.
Delete the one which you have created.
The first one, Puneet.
Yeah.
10.0.0.
Actions. Now it will show what exactly is present in here. Yeah, delete the security resource ID. Okay, these many security groups have been created. Okay, now the VPC got deleted. That's fine. Refresh it. Okay, go to the subnets. Okay, they're all on the IPv4 address. Okay, that's fine. Now go to this one, AWS Cloud Map. There is another tab.
No, next tab, Puneet.
This tab only.
Yeah, refresh it. Now go to the hosted zone. Select one first. Edit in the cloud map. Yeah, select one. Do one thing. Go to hosted zones. Go to hosted zones. Now take this local and delete it. Click on it. Delete. Refresh it. Go to the namespace now. Now go to the namespace.
Yeah, Ashok, it is in namespace.
Type namespace in the services. Type in the search. Type namespace. Yeah, click on it. Now delete the one. Associate service. What are the services it has? Go to local inside. This VPC you did just got deleted it, right?
Yes, Ashok, I deleted the VPC.
Just click on that VPC. What is the VPC you have given here? Okay, this VPC is not available. Then why it is not deleting it? Okay, route tables are security groups you have deleted. Okay, go back. Go to AWS Cloud Map. Not this one, there only in the VPC only. Click go back. Okay, yeah, here is this. You don't have any, no, go back. To the other tab, AWS Cloud Map, other tab, first tab. Okay, cross that error, remove the pop-up and just go down. Let me see. See, still the services are running. You said you had deleted the services, right?
Yes, Ashok, I have
But
deleted the service.
You said you deleted the cluster. Why the services are there then?
I showed you right, Ashok. The cluster is only not available. I have deleted the cluster.
If the cluster is not available, how the service got created? Open the vote one. Click on the vote. Come down. Okay, delete each service. Go back.
Cancel.
Yeah, delete. You can do it there like that also. Delete. Now do the same thing for all the things. Come down. Select all 4 and delete it. I think it will be take one by one only, I think. Now go and try to delete the namespace. Now it should be deleted. Go to namespace. Not like that. Go to namespace and select the local and delete it.
The practice one, Puneet has yesterday, he has done yesterday, Ashok. This is also running in the background.
So delete it. What is there in the practice?
The same thing, whatever you have done yesterday, Ashok. Practice one, Puneet.
Yes, same thing, Ashok.
Delete it. You
Yes,
don't need
it is
this
getting
one.
deleted. Local is getting deleted, Ashok.
Yeah, so you can delete the other one also. It will also go with the same thing.
Done.
Now just wait until let's see. Now go to the Route 53 console. See Puneet, just one thing. You are having a different tabs, right? You have opened 4 different tabs, and in the 4 different tabs, you are able to see one is UPS, one is Route 53, one is AWS Cloud Map. Why again you have to search there? Use the tabs. When you have opened it in tabs, use it. Close the pop-ups and try to delete again. Refresh. I think it got deleted. Yeah, because the cloud map namespace got deleted. That's the reason it also got deleted. Go to the AWS cloud map and see whether the namespace got deleted or not. Yeah, here it is not there. Okay. Now, what exactly is pending from your side? Namespace got deleted. Now go to the cloud formation, cloud stack formation.
Where did it be, Ashok?
Search. You have not opened cloud stack, right?
We have opened Ashok, Cloud Stack Formation.
Yeah, open it. Click on it.
Yes. Click.
Two services were running and one got deleted previously, half an hour before Ashok. This is the one it was not deleted.
The container failed. Template to create new work with. Okay, now select and delete it.
Select VPC.
The other time also it was showing delete initiated started, but it is not deleted, Ashok.
As I said, first you have to, whatever you have created, you have to delete it. Whatever you have created means the VPCs, the subnets. See, this is actually our learning. For the learning phase, we are actually doing it. But when you start working the projects, we actually don't delete everything, because we need that isolated VPC, we need the subnet groups. But here we are actually on short of our money, so we actually do it.
It's deleted, Ashok.
Yeah, the cloud formation is gone. VPC is deleted. The namespace got deleted. And what exactly is pending right now?
File name.
Close the pop-ups. Close the pop-ups and search the clusters. Go to the ECS. The VPC is deleted. That's fine.
Okay.
Okay, that's fine. I think everything is done from your side. There's nothing pending, right? Check it out once again. If you have anything, let me know. Okay.
Okay, sure.
Okay, let me share my screen. You guys, where we have done exactly up to now. So you guys have all the details, means you have whatever we have discussed up to now, you are clear, right? Do you want me to do a recap?
No, Ashok. Is it like regarding ECS? It's clear, Ashok, to create.
You don't create. See, the thing is that I would say very frankly to you, the creation of the ECR means whatever you are using here, whatever you are using it here is very easy. Means You can create the repositories or anything. It is a very easy thing, but understanding what exactly is the things, what exactly, how exactly each thing, each attribute works out, that is the main thing in ECS. See, in the console, you directly go to the ECS and you can start directly working on it. But if you want, see, this is the one, you can go to the old console directly. Here, if you are creating a cluster and everything is very easy, but understanding the terms, what exactly each one, how exactly it works out, that is the main point in ECS. You need to understand how exactly each term, whatever we are using, how exactly it works out. Creation is a very easy. Just you go to create cluster. If it is a Fargate, you will go for networking. If you want the EC2 mode, you will just go to this one. So it's just a simple click. And after this, you will just start creating the steps. Whatever you wanted. You wanted on-demand instance. You wanted a spot. You want the cluster name. What is the cluster name should be? EC2 instance type. See, here it is asking us what should be the instance type, number of instances. I will explain you how exactly. The EC2 MID, what exactly this I have discussed with what I said. You will be have ECS optimized AMA, which as Docker agent and ECS agent, which actually helps you to have Docker agent, ECS agent, the key pair if you want to connect to key pair. And here again, if you want to create a new VPC, you can create a new VPC, the subnets and the container constant. Here we have to give a role where container should be having full ECS access, that we have to give it. And the tags, now that's it, you can create it. Other than that's nothing in EC2 mode. And if you go back to the Fargate mode, if you go to the Fargate mode, what exactly the Fargate mode? In the Fargate mode, you don't have to give about the EC2 steps. You just create a cluster, you'll create a new VPC, and what exactly we'll do here, just that's it, done. But you need to understand how exactly the tasks, how exactly the services, how exactly it works out. We need to have these attributes, we need to work it out. Okay, let me go through it, and after that I will explain what exactly means, whatever you want to work it out, what exactly, how exactly, whatever we have discussed about IAM roles, the EC environment variables, and the placement strategy types I have discussed yesterday. Now, I will explain, there is another one called ECS task placement constraint. What exactly this placement constraint is that, it is actually, suppose you have in your project, someone asks that I need the instance, means in the EC2 mode, I need the instance to be m5.x large, and the availability zone should be in AP South 1A or maybe US East 1A. So these are specified constraints. These are specified constraints. It allows you to filter the ECS, filter your EC2 instances, where exactly your task needs to be kept, where exactly the strategy types is that how exactly you're gonna keep the task. But the constraint means, if you're in your project, the constraint is that you need to have the instance type should be this: T2 large, T3 micro, T2 micro, T3 medium, and availability zone, in which availability zone my instance should be there. My instance should be in this availability zone only. I should not be having in any other availability zone. That is task placement constraint. How and where, how exactly this constant and strategy types works out, that we need to check it out, if you remember in Docker Swarm. If you remember in Docker Swarm, we actually use these constraints. You know that in placement strategy, when we are writing it out, we have mentioned placement constraint. What exactly, how exactly it works out. Suppose now if we go here, see, there you have a machine, there is a pending task. Okay, there is a pending task which need to be placed in all the three nodes. In the three nodes, you have to place this task. So placement strategy, placement constraint, which one works first, which one goes first? Which one goes first? If you don't have idea, you can say it, I will explain. Hello.
Sure.
Yes, Ashok.
So which one goes first? Do you have any idea, or I should be explaining it?
In machine 1, machine 2, and machine 3, Ashok.
See, now you have a container. A container needs to be placed. These are all the three machines in which machine the container should be placed, and they have given a placement stack and placement constraint. Now, which one goes first? Which one we will be checking first? Then the second one will come into the picture. Which one? Whether the constraint will be applicable first, or the strategy will be applicable first. Use a logical thinking and tell me the answer.
First strategy, Ashok.
Why strategy?
First will decide where to go, Ashok. It can't be placed directly to the one container. First we'll think we need to send to this or not.
See, the thing is that before strategy means before you want to go to the spread, you want to go to bin packing, or you want to go to distinct instance, you need to understand what exactly the instance should be, right? The
Yes.
constraint, or what exactly the instance should be. So always the constraint will applicable first, because that explains you. See, now here what they are asked is the placement constraint and strategy. They have said AZ balance spread. Okay, that's fine. Constraint instance type should be T2x large. Now A to Z balance spread. Before that you have T2.x large. Now if you see in the three machines, you have only two T2.x large. So this one automatically goes out. This one automatically goes out because this is not T2x large, this is T2 large. So this node is obviously, we will not be keeping this container here. We will not be keeping the container in this machine 3. So now we will be having machine 1 and 2. This way the constraint will be the first we will be checking, will be applicable first. The constraint will be the one we will be applicable first. Now next, what is the constraint? They say T2.x large. So this is the T2.x large. Now here comes the picture. What should be the placement strategy? They said AZ balance spread means the spread. What exactly the spread? It uniformly distributes the containers in the same machine. Now, if you see in the first node, there is already three containers running. So automatically the container will go to the second machine. Because we said AZ balance spread. So if the first machine is already having three containers, so obviously the second machine will take the third container. This is the way how we exactly using the placement constraint and strategy, how exactly we are going to place our containers in the node machines. This is applicable only on EC2 mode, only on EC2 launch type, not on Fargate. Why it is not applicable on Fargate? Because it is,
Serverless.
yes, because we don't have any EC2 machines. It is a serverless type. Now, are you able to understand this question? Why exactly? Now, see, based on this is the first picture. So when based on the placement constraint, we cancel the third machine because it is not T2.x large. And when based on the placement strategy, we cancel the first machine because it is AZ balance spread. So this is the reason the node is in the the container is in the second machine. The answer is machine 2. Are you guys able to get it? How
Yes,
exactly
yes.
the placement strategy and placement constraint works out?
Yes, Ashok. Yes, Ashok.
So now this task placement and everything. After this, we have deployment. Yeah. So guys, we have discussed when we were talking about Docker Swarm and Docker Compose. What was the deployment? What was the deployment issue we were seeing? What was the Docker Swarm we were saying about the deployment? What exactly the thing we were used to discuss? The deployment rate. What exactly the deployment? Whether our machine without downtime, we have to change from version V1 to version V2.
Me too.
How exactly we used to do it? What is the deployment? What is the deployment strategy we were using?
First, we used to give the two machines would be running, two machines would be updating,
What
and
is
rest
that?
four will be.
What is the deployment strategy name? What is the deployment strategy name? What is the deployment strategy name? V1. What is the deployment strategy name? Come on, guys. What is the deployment strategy name? Rolling update. Rolling update. If you guys remember, it's rolling update. If you guys remember, it's rolling update.
Yes, Ashok. Remember.
Now, what exactly we have done? What exactly we have done?
We run 6 applications. V1. First 2 will be updating, rest 4 will be working. Then rest 2, second 2.
How many machines are there? 4, 6, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Now, what exactly we have discussed in the deployment? What exactly? We have to change our version from V1 to V2, from V1 to V2. So if in Docker's form, what we exactly did, we used to change our versions when 2 machines. We usually keep the 2 machines, means the 2 machines are running, the other 8 machines are able to handle the load. And when we change the other two machines, then the 6 and the top 2 will be handling the load. And again, when we are doing it for the next 2, the top 4 and the down 4 will be handling the load. This is the way we actually done in Docker's form, right?
Yes, Ashok.
So how exactly we control the deployment rate in Docker's form? How exactly we control the deployment rate in Docker Swarm? How exactly we did it? What was the terms? What is the delay between? What are the
Up and
terms
down.
we used? Yes,
Using up and down, Ashok.
up and down. We use two terms. How exactly it needs to work out? How exactly we used Docker node update, something we used. What exactly the terms we used to mention how many containers should be going on, how much delay should be between the container starting and the next container
20
going.
seconds.
What are the terms, guys?
20 seconds delay we used to give.
What exactly the terms? I am asking about the term. What exactly the terms we used in Docker's form when we controlled our deployment rate? What exactly the terms are? What exactly the terms are? Update delay, update parallelism. Do you guys remember update parallelism? We mentioned how many containers in parallel have to be changed from version V1 to V2. Delay when the other container is getting started. After that, 20 seconds
Update delay.
to go for the next containers. Update parallelism and update delay. This is the way we controlled our deployment rate in Docker Swarm. Right? These were the terms we used, right? Docker node, update parallelism, update, Docker Swarm, update, Docker node, update delay. How much delay? 20 seconds, 30 seconds between the containers. When the other two containers got up, then after that 20 seconds go for these containers. This was the term we used it, right?
Yes, Ashok.
Yes, Ashok, but you don't remember it. I have to
The
tell you.
parallelism word I didn't remember exactly.
Docker Swarm, the same way in ECS, we also have the rolling update. we also have the rolling update. Now, if I tell you, so deployment is the same thing. We actually do the same thing what we have done, but here we actually by default for the Docker orchestration, means for the container orchestration, rolling update is the default methodology. And in ECS we also have another one called blue green deployment. Which is not actually by defaultly work for AWS. We have to use another AWS service. If you go back and if you create a cluster, for this I need to create a cluster. Okay, that's fine. I'll explain it to you. Let's go to a task definition. Let's see. Here, just a minute, guys. Okay, for this I need to create a cluster. Let me create a cluster first. Otherwise, this is not going to work out. So what will be the cluster name? Let's go for the EC2. So we will take port app. Okay, port application. We'll going right now. I'm going to on-demand instance, and I would say to go for T2 micro because T2 is free for us. So I will always go for T2 micro. If it is an applications one, I would say T2 micro. Go for this one. Right now I need two instances. Why I need two instances, I will let you know. Here, before creating this VPC, I want to talk about something. Okay, I will show you this rolling update. But where is the task? Okay, let me do one thing. Let me create a VPC first. Now I created a VPC. Now let me create subnets. I will explain everything, guys. Just give me 2 minutes. Whatever I'm doing, it just look into that. What exactly I'm doing is that I'm creating a VPC. In VPC, I'm creating subnets. I'm creating 4 subnets. Each subnet will be 4 subnets, 2 public and 2 private. I'm just giving the names.
One subnet is not working. Oh. $26.
At 0.24. Why exactly is not taking? Oh, shit. I should have created a VPC with. Yes. Again, 16, not 24. Just a minute. I'm not able to go for the CIDR 16. I need to delete this VPC.
Four, Ashok. 4 subnets, Ashok.
Yeah, I'm just creating 4 subnets. I will explain why I'm creating all the subnets. Just give me some time. I'm creating 2 public, 2 private, but these will not be the public and private until unless we do something. Explaining. Okay, it has been created. Something that other comes every day. Okay, now I have created a VPC. I have created a VPC. Let me create internet gateway also. I'm creating what app only. Now I have connected the internet gateway to the OT app. Now let me create an NAT gateway. Okay, now it has been created. Subnets VPC. Okay, now let's go to the ECS. Create a cluster, EC2 mode. Now I am taking an tab. I'm taking on-demand instance. I'm selecting it t2.micro because these are free. Now I need two instances. I don't want, they are private. I don't want to create new VPC because I already have created a VPC. What should be the subnet? Okay, create a new security group. Let me see what is the role. Here we have to get a full role. I will explain here why we are creating container IMS instances. We need ECS full role. AWS ECS full role. This one, Amazon EC2 container service. So once this role has been created, Come on, refresh. Select this one right now. I just don't want to waste time. Node application. What micro? I need 2 instances. I don't want to SSH because I will be having them in the private subnet. First one be create new security group, DevOps assignment. I'll just create this ECS cluster. Okay. What exactly I'm doing is, let me explain you here in the meanwhile until it goes on. Okay, now this is a VPC. We have created a VPC. In that VPC, again, I'm creating 3 subnets. Okay, 3 subnets means this is a VPC. In this, there are 3 availability zones. We have 3 availability zones. In this availability zones, one is US East. Now, suppose we are taking as US East 1A. Here we have gone for East, US East. This is East. This VPC is present in US East, totally in Northeast Virginia. In that, we have 3 availability. We have 6 availability zones, but now consider only 3 availability zones are there. In that each availability zone, we have created 3 subnets. We have to make it work it out. We have created subnets. How many subnets? There are 3 subnets. Now in this again, I have created instances in particular subnet. Again, I have created instances in this particular subnet. What exactly the subnets I have created in this availability zones? I have created in this availability zones, I have created 3 subnets. In this subnets, I have created instances. What exactly the instances are? Public and private instances. Public and private instances. Public and private instances. The picture I will be explaining you further. Let's see. Okay, now it has been created. Now let's go to the cluster. If you see, guys, if you see before, when we are going for the Fargate mode, what exactly in the ECS instance it used to come? Nothing, right? Now if you see, you will be seeing 2 instances. 2 instances, come on. Sit back and see whether EC2 management has been creating the instances. Yes, it has been created. Why it is not coming yet? The EC2 has created the instances. Okay, initializing, still the check is passing on. Come on. Initializing, come on. Here are the constraints. If you go here, see, we have created a private subnet, so they don't have public IPv4 address. Before, what we used to do, we used to have public IPv4 address. Now we have created a private subnet, it is not having, but the instance should come here. Why it is not coming? What is the role I have given? Okay, let me go to the tasks. Let me create a first task in the vote. Next step, task definition in vote app. Task role none. See, now in Fargate mode, what used to we get in the network mode? What we used to have only AWS VPC option. When we are in the Fargate mode, we used to have only AWS VPC option. But in the EC2 mode, we will be having all the options, whatever you want to select. But first, we need to understand. So we always go for the AWS VPC task execution role. Here, see, if you remember in Fargate, when we are creating the task, this is mandatory. Why? Because the container directly used to take this task memory and task CPU. But here it is optional. If you read the task size required for task using the Fargate launch type and is optional for the EC2 or external launch type. This is optional for the EC2 mode. For the Fargate, we need to mention specify because we don't have any EC2 machines. But here in the EC2 mode, we have our own EC2 machines. So there is no need to specify the task memory and task CPU. And to have the container at the container. What was the base? Something. It's off limit as 128. So here the container port should work on the port 80. And if you guys remember, in Fargate mode task creation, when we are doing for the container, it's automatically used to get ticked out. Here we have to tick it out. Here we have to make the lock configuration enable. In Fargate mode, it automatically takes, but here we have to provide the logs add. And after this, no need proxy volumes, no need of it. Containers has been added, task memory, that's fine. Okay, now let's create this task. I think the role which we have given is a wrong role. That's the reason it is not updating. Shit. We should have given the correct role then. I think this will not delete because it will say that the instances are there. Sorry guys, my bad. As expected. Just a minute, let me delete these instances. want to explain about the rolling update, how exactly we do it in ECS. For that, we need this cluster. Go fast. We have given S3 full access. That was the reason it was not able to work it out. Yes, when we are doing it, please don't create with the same full access. I am just doing it because I don't have any other thing. So when you are doing it, create a separate role and give only EC2 full access. Don't go for the S3 full access. If I remove it, it will take a lot of time. So that's the reason I'm just working on it. We will just do one thing. .0.0 was the internet gateway. So what exactly the internet gateway will be? Just a moment. Oh, I've just mentioned all. Shit. Okay, now I will explain the rolling update. What exactly I was trying to understand, make you understand. See, now you have 10 V1 machines, 10 V1 machines. Now, if you change every machine like V1, V1. Now, if you have 10 machines, now in ECS, how exactly you want to change? You just 4, 6, 8, 9. Okay. Now in ECS, how exactly here in Docker from what we used to do? We used to mention in the command that update parallel, update delay, and everything. Now here when we are using the rolling update, if we want to change V1 to V2, and suppose these two machines are getting changed, are you sure that these eight containers will be able to hold the load? Are we sure? No, we will not be able to figure out that. Suppose now consider that want to change again in a single go, means 5 machines at a time. We are still not sure whether these other five machines will be able to hold the load or not. We are not able to sure. And 5 machines at a time is a very fast process, and we are not sure, because if we get 2x traffic at that time, we will not be able to keep the load with these 5 machines. And two machines at a time is also not a correct strategy. How exactly we gonna decide all the machines needs to go from v1 to v2? How exactly we gonna do all the machines from v1 to v2? Maybe we can change directly all the 10 machines at a time. Is it possible? That way, if we do that, then there is a chance of production deployment getting failed, because the application is not accessible at that time. If we are changing all the 10 machines at a time and we are replacing it with all the V2 versions, that is not possible, because we are actually making it out our application down. We should not be doing. So how exactly we gonna do it is, when you creating the task, when you start creating the task, when you creating the services, we always see that when you select EC2, you will be seeing do the service name. The service that you see for the ECS, for the EC2 mode, it will come replicant daemon, because one machine at a time. Now, if you see, there is a point called minimum health percentage and maximum health percentage. What exactly is this? Now I'm going to explain you to. Now see, here is the deployment type. How exactly rolling update? And if we go for the blue green, it is directly not being provided by the ECS. We have to do AWS code deploy. With this service, we are going to use blue green deployment strategy. But if we are going with the rolling update, it is automatically worked out. And if you see task placement here, if you see, before that, when we are going for the Fargate, whether we used to get any task placement, whether we used to get the
No.
task placement, see, no. But if you go to EC2, you will obviously get the task placement. We have to mention what is the task placement. We have to mention, and the deployment type is rolling update. Here, how exactly it works. Now let's take an example. As I mentioned, you have V1, 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 V1. Now, what exactly this minimum and maximum percentage is? Just keep it like that. Minimum health percentage, maximum health percentage. Now, what exactly is this? If you see, every time when we go, we used to keep only 100 and 200, 100 and 200. We used to go back. Now, what exactly this is that? If you have 10 machines, when your deployment is going on, when you start going for the deployment, here you are having 10 machines. You are saying the minimum health percentage of that service, means of that service should be 100. Means if you are having 10 machines, the 10 machines should be working continuously. Now, if you want to deploy from V1 to V2, here you are already having 10. We are already having 10, and minimum health percentage was 100. Now, if you give 80, here, that means you can, in the 10 containers, you can go for two containers can be replaced, and in the place of 100, the maximum health percentage is, listen carefully, this is a very interesting topic and a very important question. If someone asks you about the rolling update of ECS, listen very carefully. If you want, I can explain you 10 times also. This is a very important topic, because you need to understand this thing. Minimum health percentage, if you keep 80, that means if you are having 10 containers, you can go change the first two. You can go and change the first two, because here the minimum health percentage was 80. So in the meanwhile, if the traffic comes again, the maximum health percentage. In the meanwhile, if the traffic comes, means what is the maximum? They said 120, means you can increase two more machines, you can increase two more containers. So the total will be 12. The total will be 12. In the meanwhile, when your deployment is going on, and you are changing from V1 to V1 to V2, at that time the traffic is coming, it sees, okay, the minimum is 80, minimum is 80, so already the 8 containers are there, but I'm getting more traffic. At that time, if you see, the maximum health percentage is 120, so automatically it will create two more machines, two more nodes, two more containers, so that it works. Two more containers. Are you guys able to get it? Means if you are having 10 machines and minimum health percentage is 80, at that time you can change your two containers, so that the minimum is 80. But when you see the maximum health percentage, means when if you are getting the traffic, at that time if you see the maximum health percentage is 120, so the machine automatically creates two more containers, means the total count is 12. So that's way the minimum and maximum. This is the one. Here you can keep anything you want. You can give 50, you can give 60. But if you are changing it, we have to make sure that the minimum health percentage should be like, if you give 100, so means if you are having 10 machines, the 10 machines should be running. The 10 machines should be running. At that time, that is not possible. That is not possible to you to modify your machines, to modify the deployment rate, to go from V1 to V2. So we will change this. And maximum health percentage, suppose you suddenly start changing 5, the minimum health percentage should be 100, so automatically the machine creates another 5 more containers, another 5 more containers. Are you guys able to understand this minimum and maximum? Whenever we are just writing it, at that time we never took care of it, but here in EC2 this is very important. Minimum and maximum. Are you guys able to understand?
Yes, Ashok.
Ashok, my doubt is like the machine creates extra version machines now, Ashok. I
Extra
mean,
containers.
extra
100.
containers. That would
Yes.
be that will be of updated V2 version machines, right, Ashok? Containers.
It depends.
What is the
It
use,
depends.
Ashok? Then
It depends. If you are saying that the containers are already, the V2 is there, it will create V2. If it is the V2 is not yet there, it will create V1 only.
if it creates V2, then what is the use, Ashok? It will definitely will not be able to deploy it to that machines, right?
No, it will obviously deploy, right? Because here, if you see, two more machines are creating at the creating time, so it will create two more new containers at the same time, so that it will able to handle the load. It will, until and unless, see, if you are working on the deployment rate, now here you have mentioned the deployment time to be taking. If your deployment time to be, means it is taking some time, means maybe a 15 seconds late. In the meanwhile, you got 10x traffic. If you got traffic more, so automatically it creates new containers. It will create the versions which you are kept, means in the machine if you are kept v2 versions, then it will automatically create v2 containers. But this containers, until and comes up, there is any issue, this will be taking care of that one. Or maybe this one is not even actually possible. This is even not even
Ashok, you're not audible, Ashok.
go for v1, where we have
Ashok,
to check and work it out. Yes.
like in between, voice got stuck, Ashok.
You
Okay.
weren't audible.
Where exactly, up to how much you have heard? Up to how
Not
much
yet.
you have heard?
In middle, another two machines will get deployed. That was where you
Yes.
were voice.
Okay, now as I mentioned, you have 10 machines. The minimum health percentage you have kept is 80. So the deployment starts for the first two machines, where it will be changing from V1 to V2.
Okay.
At that time it sees that you are getting traffic more. You are getting more traffic. What it does is that the minimum health percentage will be 80. Okay, it's okay. There are 8 machines are already present, so that's fine. Now, how much maximum I can go? How much maximum I can go? At that time, if the containers versions are still V1, if the containers versions are still V1, whatever we want to deploy. We want to deploy means the new containers which want to give is the version V1. So it automatically creates 2 more machines. It automatically creates 2 more machines. If 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 the version we want to deploy means if we want the version we want means when we are creating this task, we mentioned that the deployment here should be v2. Here it is should be v2, so automatically it takes v2. It depends on us what we are giving at the place of maximum health percentage. Means what are the versions we are giving, it will be creating that containers only. Whatever the versions we are giving in the content, that containers will only be created, not all the containers. It
Ashok,
depends on
will the newer machines created be able to take the traffic, Ashok?
your containers will be taking the traffic. Yes, obviously this was the reason, right? If the v1 is already continuously working, we will never go for the new versions, right? Unless the v2 start taking the traffic. So we'll obviously go for the v1s only in the starting place. And once this v2 is able to take the traffic and we see, okay, these containers are perfectly fine, there is no issue, then we will start working on the other things. Now, have you guys understood this concept? This is a very interesting concept and you should be able to answer it whenever someone asks about the ECS, because this is the way, as I mentioned, creating and working on ECS is very easy, but understanding the terms, why exactly we use each thing. When before last 2 days, what we used to do, we just used to go directly and I used to tell him, just keep like that, just keep like that. But why I'm saying it now, why I'm saying what exactly the need, what is exactly this, what is the rolling update. Now you should be able to understand what are the terms we have in a service, what are the terms we have in that service. Any questions, guys?
No, Ashok.
Now, if you don't have any questions, now I have questions. Now I have given the minimum health percentage as 70
Okay.
and the maximum health percentage as 130.
130.
Now you guys tell me, now you have 10 machines. No, not 10. You have 8 machines. You have 8 machines. Now you have 70 minimum health percentage. You have 70 minimum percentage. No, let's give 60 and the maximum health percentage 120. Now you guys tell me how many machines will go for the deployment, how many machines will go for the deployment, and how many new machines will get created if it is a maximum. Now you guys tell me.
Now 8 machines, Ashok.
Yeah,
Only
for
two
8
can go
machines.
for deployment at a time, Ashok.
Sorry?
Only two can go at a time. Only two can go for deployment since the minimum health percentage is 60. Ashok?
Okay, what about the maximum health percentage?
Ashok? You're not audible.
140, Ashok.
Sorry?
140, 140.
No, I have given maximum health percentage is 120. How many new containers will be created if the maximum health percentage has to be done?
It will create 4, Ashok.
4.
Twice of that.
Yes, understand the logic. Understand the logic. Now see. 60% of 8. What is the value?
And,
60% of 8. What is the value? Okay. What is the value?
4.8.
So is it possible to have 4.8 containers? Is it possible to have 4.8 containers?
No, Ashok. 5.
No, right? So if you say we can go 4
Ashok, your voice
containers.
is not audible, Ashok. Ashok?
Just one, tell me. Are you able to hear me?
No, Ashok. Now your voice is audible.
Ashwant, are you able to hear me?
Yes, Ashok. Like in between disruptions are there, Ashok. Like stucking your voice.
I'm not able to understand because the Wi-Fi is perfectly working fine. Okay. If if my voice is not able, just let me know. Okay. Hello.
Yes,
Now
Ashok. Please continue.
Now, if you have 4.8 containers, is it possible? What is the minimum health percentage? We kept 60. So if we say four containers keeping means we are having 8 machines. 4 containers will able to track the traffic. No, right? Because the 0.8 container should be present.
Yes.
0.8 containers should be present. So that's not possible. So what we do, we keep 5 containers. 5 containers should be able to take the load because we have mentioned 60. So obviously we can go 3 containers at a time for the deployment rate. 3 containers at a time for the deployment rate. Now, what is the maximum health percentage? We mentioned 120.
120.
We mentioned 120. So 120% of
9.6.
9.6. Now if we are doing, see, maximum health percent, so they are already 8, means already 8 is there. So the maximum 120 of 8 means 9.6. So
10.
are you guys tell me 9.6 containers means should we go for 10 containers?
Yes, Ashok.
No, the 10 containers means it crosses the 9.6 value. No, right? Because 9.6 is 9.6 means 0.4 is more than 10, means the 10 we are actually going 2 more containers. So we have to go maximum for 9 because 0.6 container is not possible. So we will go for 9 value, 9, not the 10, because if we give 10, it is crossing the value of 9.6. It is crossing the value of 9.6. But if you take 9, it is under 9.6. So the maximum containers you can create, you can go is 9. At a time the minimum is 60, means you can change 3 containers at a time. But if you are having maximum 120, you have to go 9. Are you guys able to understand?
Yes, Ashok.
Now the same thing, tell me this answer.
Same 8 containers, Ashok. 8 or 9.
Same.
Yes, same 8 containers.
Five containers, Ashok. For minimum.
What is the 70% of 8?
$5.6.
Okay, 5.6 containers means, will the 5 containers will be take the load? Will the 5 containers will be able to take the load? Because here 5.5
Yes,
is
Ashok.
less than 5.6. 5 is less than 5.6. We should go for 6, because the 0.6 load, the 0.6 containers, where you are going to get it, you will not be able to. So for that we should go for 6. So at a time you can deploy only 2 containers. What is the maximum per health percentage of maximum health?
11.
Now you tell.
11 containers, Ashok. 11.2 it will come.
11 containers. Sure.
Yes, Ashok.
Yes, 11.2.
So at a time, how many more containers you can create? 3 means you can go for 3 more containers, means 8 plus 3 means obviously how much money you have to go for 11, means that's right. Here 5 containers should 6 containers should go, and if it is 11.2, you should go for 11 containers. Are you guys able to understand these questions? Are you guys
So,
able to understand minimum?
but
Yes.
here, when before you told that like 9.6 containers thing, you told it is not possible to make it 10 containers. So we made it 9. But when it
Because
came to
that's
5.6 containers, we made it.
maximum. Guys, understand the minimum and maximum value. It is maximum. Here you are asking to go more than the value which you are coming. You are asking to go more than the value which you are coming. 9.6. If you create one more container, the 10 is more than 9.6. The maximum what we have asked, the maximum value how much we have asked, it will not cross. It should not cross that value. It should not cross. It can go 9, but it should not cross this 9.6. It should not go 9.6. But here in the minimum 5.6, 5.6 means the minimum should be 70. Here we are creating 5 means it is less than 5. The minimum health percentage will not be able to handle that load, will not be able to handle that load. That's the reason we should always go more than this, more than this. If it is 5.2, 5.3, 5.4, we should always go the next value. But here if you are getting 9.9 also, 9.9 also, we can't go for 10 because 9.10 is greater than 9.9. So we should always go for less than that value. Understand the difference between minimum and maximum. This is very much important, very much important. They will ask you these questions at some point of your interview when you say I'm very good at ECS. Are you guys able to understand, or should I repeat it again?
Ashok, are we gonna mention this minimum and maximum percentage? Ashok, 70, 110, based upon
Yes,
the containers running.
yes. This is the reason I am showing it to you here. See, this is the reason I'm mentioning you. What is the minimum? What is the maximum? How many containers it should be running? In production, this value should always be 100 to 100. But in non-prod, you can go for 50. You can go for 60. But in production, this value should always be 100. The minimum value should always be 100 and the maximum should always be 200. But in development or QA, you can go for less percentage. Means you can have less containers in your machine when you are running, when you are working for non-production. But if you are in production, the health percentage should always be 100. Always be 100. See here, if it is maximum percentage is 200, automatically the 10 machines are running. So if you go for deployment, it will create 10 more machines. It will create 10 more machines, which automatically the load goes to the other 10 more machines, and the other 10 more machines will be going for the deployment. Will be going for the deployment.
Ashok? Ashok?
Yes. Yes, Ashwant.
No, Ashok. Suddenly your voice got stuck, so only.
Okay. How much you are able to hear?
Till, like you said twice of that. In production,
Yes. In production, it should be always be 100 and 200. In non-prod, you can change value how much you want. You can keep it as 50 and you can change this value to 100. It's up to you. But in
it's always,
prod,
it needs to be twice, Ashok. Twice of that.
yes, because suddenly if you are doing the deployment at that time in the 10 machines, you are saying you are having 10 machines, you are in a single go, you are changing all the 10 machines, at a time. So the load comes, means suppose you are doing not in the weekend, you are doing in the weekend or some other time where there is no load at all. At that time you thought that okay, suddenly I will change all the 10 machines in a single go. At that time the load comes, you should be able to, you hear the rolling update will be able to do again the 10 machines in a single go, so that the application load will be on this maximum percentage, that is the way we have to figure out, we have to work it out. See guys, creating and doing the stuff in ECS is very easy, but understanding the things is very important. AZ availability zone. This is availability zone spread. You can use availability means in a single container means if you have 2 machines, if you are having 6 containers, it will go 3-3. That's the way availability zone spread. If it is a bin pack, you can push all the containers in a single machine, because that's a bin pack. We will use this bin pack and everything for the development, means development or QA. The AZ spread will always be used for the production. Will always be used for the production. Any questions, guys? Any questions you have?
Ashok, what was the purpose of creating those VPC and all, Ashok?
Actually, I want to explain it that one only, because this I will explain you.
Ashok, at a time we would be changing all the 10 missions, Ashok, whatever you said for the previous example.
At a time? Yeah, you can do it. You can do it when you don't have any load. You don't have any load. And you are doing it on a weekend. You are doing it on a weekend. You can do it. But at that time, suddenly the load comes. The cluster will be able to take care of it by creating another 10 more nodes, 10 more containers, 10 more containers.
Okay.
We can do it.
Here we can't decide the for the cost reduction, Ashok. Like
Cost reduction means
it would be increasing the containers or machines running upon.
Yeah, it will be done and it will go back, right? Once the work is done, automatically when the load goes back to normal, automatically it says, okay, the minimum is 10, so I will be going back to 10. It will not keep the 20 all the time. It will cease once the load is okay, means we will be using the load balancer here. Here we will be using this load balancer. Okay, this will be checking, this will be taking care if the load is not coming more, if the load is not coming at all. So it will automatically make sure that okay, the load is not more than now what is the minimum containers it should be present. There is 10. So delete the other containers which has been created. It will do that. That's the reason we actually giving the access, the ECS access on the cluster. I think I have missed that policy perfectly. I will check. I have to check once. That policy, with that policy, we will be able to see. We will be able to see everything. I will explain this thing tomorrow because the VPC and everything, because that has to be explained very clearly and pictorial, and it takes minimum 30 to 40 minutes. And if I take today, that will be a waste of your time only, because, and I also have a call at 4:30 exactly. Here exactly the VPC which we do, because when you go through this PPT in the starting phase, in the starting, when you read, I have mentioned one word, a production ready system. Why production ready system is because in the production we should always be creating our machines, our everything in isolated VPC, That was the reason. I have created a VPC. I have created a new VPC, and in that availability zone, I have created my subnets. In that subnets, I have given public and private. Public, and in the availability zone, I have created public and private. These are all the public and private subnets where we will be having these instances, the public instance and private. And remember, guys, by default, when you create a custom VPC, in the custom VPC, if you create a custom subnet, like the one which we have done right now, if we have created a custom subnet, the subnets will always be private. When you create a custom VPC, in that custom VPC, if you are creating a subnet and attaching to it, it will always be private. And the private subnet will, yes guys, yes Puneet.
No, your voice was not audible in the middle. So custom TCP after that.
Custom update.
The custom VPC, whatever we create, and in the custom VPC, whatever the subnet we are connecting, whatever the subnet we are creating, by default they will be private. the custom subnets which we have created, we have to be make public, we have to connect them, to internet gateway. We have to connect them to the internet gateway. If the subnets has been connected, if the subnets has been connected to internet gateway, then these subnets are called public. And we will be creating a NAT gateway where the internal, the private subnets can connect from here to here. The private subnets will be connecting the NAT gateway, where this will be providing out you all the things we needed from the internet. The NAT gateway is the one where we will be connecting to the private subnets, where we will be handling the load or anything, whatever you want, we can. And in this between, we will be having a load balancer. I think I have a picture. Just a minute. Here. No, not this one. See the picture. This is a public subnet. These are all means in a availability zone. See, if in a availability zone, we have 3 availability zones, and in 3 availability zones, the guy has did some mistake. Okay, that's fine. 3 availability zones. In 3 availability zones, we have subnets. What are the subnets? Public. This should be private. They kept it as public only, so that's our bad. So all these six subnets. In this, we are having one is public and one is private. One is public and one is private. And we are keeping application load. I will explain the application load balancer. I think we have created before also, but we will be doing again. We will be having the application load balancer where, and you guys remember, answer my question. Does does a does the public subnet will be present in both availability zones or not? Is it possible to have a subnet in 2 availability zones or not? Is it possible to have a subnet in 2 availability zones or not?
Public subnet in the sense with the same IP address, Ashok?
No, my question is very simple. Is it possible to have the same subnet in 2 availability zones? Is it possible to?
No, Ashok, only one.
Okay, what about you, Puneet?
No, Ashok, it will be connected to the internet gateway. So
No, guys, when we have discussed AWS basics, I mentioned you what Ishwan said. We will never be having one subnet in 2 availability zones. The same subnet will never be able to present in 2 availability zones. That is never possible. In availability zone, you can have multiple subnets. But the same subnet will not be presenting in both the availability zones. It is not possible. Because if you guys see, the subnet CIDR is 10, 11, 111. If it is here, it will not be able to connect in both the availability zones. It is not possible. It will be present in a single availability zone, only. One single subnet will be present in only one availability zone. It is not possible to be present in both the availability zones. Did you guys got the everything up to now, whatever we have discussed?
Yes, Ashok.
Actually, I want to do the EC2, but the time is not there. Yeah. Tomorrow, what I do is that before coming, I will be just creating these things before itself, so that I don't have to waste your time and my time also. I will explain these things tomorrow, and we will work on your doubts also. Once this is done, we can go through your whatever your issues. What was the things you are not able to do the target one, right? So we will work on that one also, and we will work it out. So, but I should have done this today. Should have completed, because it would have easy. Okay, let me delete the cluster. I will explain this, guys, tomorrow. No issues. In the meanwhile, please try to whatever we have discussed. Yes.
Yes, you would be explaining the same, Ashok, like VPC thing.
Yes,
the flow?
with the same thing only I will be going, because I need to explain this VPC, and this is the availability zone. These are all the subnets, these are both are public and these two are private. And this is internet gateway, and we are connecting to the NAT gateway. And in this public and this private subnet, we will be creating the instances. We will be creating our instances, which we are creating in the cluster. We will be keeping in the instances. Now, with this, we will be working on our vote application. We will be working on our vote application. That is the main. That is the reason I have said production ready system. Production ready system.
No, sure, I'll check.
Production ready system. That is the reason I'm saying production ready system. We will work it out. For that, we need to have, as I mentioned, we need to have NAT gateway, internet gateway, and there will be a load balancer in between where it provides the load balancer, and we will be having target point. And the same way, when if you remember it, in Docker's form, we actually added our IPs onto our own local host DNS. The same way we will be doing it, and we will be hitting the domain directly, not the IP address, because here we will not be having any IP addresses.
Okay.
We will work it out
like
tomorrow. Yes.
ECR, it is same as like Docker Hub, right, Ashok?
Yes.
Like we can go and download from there itself, from the ECR.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Like the same commands would be used, Ashok. Like Docker run, that commands needs to be used, or like.
No, we will be having your own commands. They will be giving you the commands. If you go to Docker ECR, and you will see on the push commands, if you want to push, there is a push commands, right? If you click on the top of it,
There were 4 commands listed there only in the repository.
Yes.
if you go create a repo, if you see private demo NDR, see, if in this there is a view push commands, right? This is the commands which you need to push. If you want to download, once you upload it here, right, you can directly download it from here itself. You can click on that and download it.
Ashok, one more doubt I got, Ashok. Like
Yes.
whatever the commands we are performing, they will be asking in the interview, Ashok. Like we will be copy pasting here sometimes.
See, they may not ask all the commands, but they may ask some basic commands. They may ask.
Okay.
It depends. See, every person is different, right? Like the same way, every interview's mood depends on how he is going to ask. If you are, suppose you are asking, they may not ask on the Docker what exactly, what is it Docker run command, how exactly Docker build command. It's a basic commands, right? They may ask how exactly means the question which I have asked, how we control
Whatever
the
the
deployment.
parallelism thing you asked.
Yes, how we control the deployment rate in Docker's form. We have to mention what is the, you don't have to mention the command, but you have to mention the terms which we use: update parallelism, update delay. And they may ask what on the placement strategy and the placement constraint, which one will be applicable first, which one will be applicable first. We should always be logical thinking. The constraint will come into the picture, because with the constraint we will be able to default, means like the say the type and everything comes into the picture. So based on the type, then we will decide the strategy. So the constraint comes applicable, will be applicable first. That way we should be able to answer our questions. And see, some commands they may ask, some means like Docker node update command, maybe as I said, Docker build, or maybe how to tag, what is the command, that the basic commands they may ask. But it doesn't mean that you have to by heart. When you start using the application, or maybe whatever we are doing it, if you practice more, the commands will automatically be in your mouth, because you
Yes.
are using it more. That way it works out. Tomorrow before coming, I'm saying it again, I will create the VPC and I will explain whatever I have done, so that then you go through that, and we will create a production ready system the same way which we done for the Docker Swarm. The same way we'll be creating it here, so that we don't have to create our application. We don't have to create our application. We don't have to create our application in the public instance, in the public. Delete. Okay.
Like you would be creating all this VPC and you would be connecting from there. You will be showing, right, Ashok?
Yes.
Like
I will.
before
I
that,
will. Yes. Tell me.
Yes, yes, continue. Like before
Yeah,
that,
go.
can you record the session, Ashok?
Oh, you want me to record? Okay, that's fine. I will
No,
do
no,
it. No
by
issue.
internally we'll get to know how exactly it works while going through the video.
Yeah, sure, sure. We'll do it. No issues. I will do it. But we will connect the same time tomorrow also at 2:30, so that in the morning I will do it because I have some other work. I will do it after that. We can perform. That's no issues. Subnets.
Why? Because today, I was thinking about this inter public and private thing. Ashok, when you were connecting to those things and it was showing error, I was a little bit confused.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, this takes a little time. That's the reason I actually forgot to do it. Okay, let me remove the route table first.
Actually, for Punit also, billing has started, Ashok.
Okay, what was the billing?
Like ₹5 in the last month.
Okay, that's fine. See, as I said, for 6 months they will whatever you do, they will not come to your home or anything. So once the 6 months is done, you can just stop using it. That's it. So that way it
Like
works out.
it get refreshed for every month, Ashok.
Yes, every month they will be having it everything.
No, no, I meant in this sense, Ashok. Every month 750 hours for DB, it is like 500 something, Ashok, GB or something. It will be restarted again for that month, particular month, 500.
Yes. No, it's not like that. I think it's 1 year. Basic plan is 1 year. Whatever the usage you are using for the 750 will be coming for that 750 hours.
Okay. If you use in 1 month, that is gone, Ashok, the entire account.
Yeah, means whatever you use means it is gone.
Means is almost 70% is gone, Ashok.
Yeah, that's fine. See, as I mentioned, for the first 6 months, you don't have to worry. If you use more than that, also they will give you 4 or 5 notifications that you are used more, you have used more, and in the 6th month they will delete your account. You will not be able to use it. Then we have to use our own. We can again create a new with a new email ID, and we can start using it. And unless we get a new job, that's it. So then once you go into the job, then you can use your organizations once and you can start doing it. Okay, guys.